Launching with video, how you can build credibility before you're fully ready.
Let's get into it.
Video Mavericks, the small business video marketing podcast. Presented by Workshop Media. With your hosts, Brett and Jeff, sharing a combined 40 years of video production and marketing experience. Take it away.
All right, so if you're starting a brand, if you're launching a product, if you're at this go-to-market stage of your business or an offering or initiative, it can feel overwhelming, and it could also feel like maybe I should wait. Maybe I should hold off on utilizing video marketing to help me get there. Let me just make sure everything's perfect, make sure I've got all the things exactly as they're supposed to be before doing that. And that it seems right. Logic would say maybe I should wait. It seems like that, but think about the benefit that video could have on your journey to launching, if you're thinking about it from an evergreen standpoint, right?
I think it's perfectly reasonable that folks would want to wait until everything's perfect to put that out there. You feel like you get one shot to make that first impression. And so I can totally relate to that and respect the trepidation to not want to get going until everything is all lined up and perfect. But I think what's important to recognize is that creating video content, you can put perfect out there even when you're not perfect yet. And so that's the magic of pre-produced content. It's making things of where your business is going to be by the time the content is finished, or by the time you're, ready to put the content out in front of people, you'll be there. Or, you're creating video assets that are talking about the future. And so all that is to say, I'm going to use the word chaos. It may not necessarily be chaos, but the chaos that you're seeing or feeling in the launch phase very likely won't come across that same way to your viewer when your content's created well. And so some of that trepidation, some of that concern about a lack of polish, you have to have a level of trust that it's not going to shape up that way when you're actually putting it out there.
What if the product's not ready?
That's a great point. And we've had that exact experience a number of times with clients. We've worked on stuff where the actual thing that you're featuring in the content actually isn't in its final form yet. That shouldn't hold you back. I mean, you need a basic form factor. You need to have a basic understanding. If you haven't ideated the product yet, it's gonna be a hard time to sell it. Although websites like Kickstarter would even argue that fact.
Yeah. And I mean, I would argue that you have the opportunity to leave the product behind, even if it is a product launch, and focus on the story, focus on the mission of why the product's being created, focus on anything you can do that builds on awareness, that builds on the consideration of an idea without, if the product isn't ready, if you're not quite there, you don't have a 3D printer to just put something out, right? Or something like that. Don't even worry about the product, but it's about the product. How could I not worry about the product? Because we want people to be aligned with your mission, with your vision for this. Why are you creating it to begin with? You have so many opportunities to create meaningful, impactful content for your target audiences without having a physical item or having even the idea of how the item is going to become physical. If it's just an idea right now, you can still create content.
I like that. I like that thought process. Attracting people to the essence of the brand itself and not necessarily to the specific product offering. And, we would say, even if you had a product in hand, we would still want to start at a fundamental level.
Yeah.
And so it shouldn't be anything to stop you from starting that immediately.
And so why a business needs video early? Hopefully, I mean, up to this point right now, we're already saying these are great reasons why you shouldn't wait, but you've got trade shows you're likely going to, you've got social media, you've got a website that's probably been launched, even if it's your phase one of it, you've got pitch meetings, and you're out shaking hands and introducing and networking and getting the idea out there. What a great way to have video on your phone or on the screen behind you or whatever, to move that needle. And it's not the idea that I can't have video yet because I'm still forming this whole thing is keeping you from doing even greater work at building that awareness or raising funds or getting investors or whatever it is. You're treating video in that case as an asset, as a strategic tool to help you in those situations. So don't think I got to make that one video once it's done. Make a bunch of them, make a whole series of them, and just make sure they're professional and they represent the product or idea or campaign or brand well. And you can always change them. You can also scrap one. Hey, guess what? This strategy we had, this campaign to launch this brand has changed significantly in the last 6 months. I'm going to throw those other 3 videos away. I'm going to use these new ones because they do a better job, right? You can kind of just keep iterating and keep going, and they're just going to give greater clarity to your story and why you have this product that you're launching or this brand, even though it's shifting. And the fun thing about that is you can get people to join in on like this journey we're on to go to market. Join in on it. You're seeing it from the ground up. We're in our origin phase. There's something kind of fun and collaborative about that.
Yeah, that's cool. And that speaks extremely well to the social engagement side of things. If you're going to do content, you actually want to be authentically open about the fact that we're not there yet. That's an angle that you could take, which is fun too. You may go, hey, we're still working on this thing. Take it, you give a look behind the scenes while it's still unfolding. And in that case, it's, it'll be critically important that you get people to align with the brand and the story behind the brand. Because that's the only thing that's the thing that they'll be attaching to. They'll be attaching to you, as a character, so to speak, and then wanting to be there and wanting to help and weigh in along the way.
Yeah. And go ahead. Sorry.
So I think that's a really cool thought process. And I think there's a lot of power to that.
Well, there are folks out there that will speak very highly on specifically creating this type of video content. Jeff Walker, as an example, pre-launch formula is like basically build this interest, build this desire of what's to come. If you're being authentic and vulnerable and leading with story, you get people interested even more than that one video that comes out that says we're new. Take a look at this new thing. It's like that's first impression, and that's important. But what if that happens? Like you keep that as the official first impression, but you've got all this other content that's stacked up that's led you to that, right?
Yeah.
We did that same thing. You briefly mentioned it a little bit ago for a medical tech startup a few years back, and there was a very similar situation. Polished brand wasn't really there. They're kind of just figuring it out. They had a lot of expertise, a lot of vision, a lot of ideas for the future, really innovative stuff. And we, had to do that huge deep dive into this world, and realized very quickly, oh, I get it. The CEO, the guy coming up with this and his whole team he built had spent a lot of time in this world, found a need, and we're building a solution, but obviously it takes time. They're making physical parts. They're doing a lot of things in this world to make sure it was done right. A lot of hoops to jump through, but had a sales team. We're going out to shows. We're really building up this need to know that the solution was there. So video was a great way to do it, but obviously the product's shifting in real time. It's changing, and we're killing ideas. We're bringing up new ideas, and we watched
the product change during production in a couple of cases. We would point something out and go, hey, can you clarify for me what I'm seeing here? And we'd watch the development team go, oh, actually, we're going to remove that. That's a great point.
Okay. All right, let's be flexible.
It is adjusting so quickly. But the point was they needed to reach people. They needed to reach people that they're end users. They needed to reach decision makers that were going to be considering to purchase their product. They needed to reach investors. And so they didn't have the luxury of waiting because they needed that buy-in along the way in order to keep doing the work they were doing. And in many cases, they needed the field experience for the product being used in order to continue to develop the product. And so the content that we were able to create for them ranged from, we did some commercials for them, sort of whiz bang promotional commercials. We did some testimonials with doctors, surgeons.
That could attest to the quality and the need for this product and this brand in the space.
We were able to actually demo the product for the viewer. We were able to teach the viewer how to set the product up in its current form. We were able to shoot product photos for the stuff that was fairly finalized, and for the things that weren't totally finalized, we were able to create images that didn't show the elements that weren't quite buttoned up yet. I know one of the things that we dealt with was there was a slight color variation that they hadn't quite decided on in the product itself. So that was a concern. And we said, okay, I totally understand that. And so we were able to adjust the way that we shot the product so that when they decided to shift the color of the product in before final delivery, we could shift with them. And you know, it was a concern for them, but you know, you just tell us what the problem is and we'll sort out how to get around it with you.
That's right.
In that case, they understood the value of getting going quickly. They understood the need for the things that they were working with us on.
It's very outcomes focused. We really wanted there to be tools and assets in a digital deliverables, I guess, to be assets to help them do exactly what they needed as they were focusing on their growth, their go-to-market strategy, their sales, these quality sales and leads they were generating, the efficacy of the product in the space. Video was going to do that, and it was outcome based. And
you know what was really important in the case working with that particular company, thinking back on it, I think it was really, really important that they trusted us, and they came to us with an understanding that they knew their stuff and we knew ours. And so, you know, if they had gone to a different shop or, you know, a freelancer or something like that, you know, someone who's not thinking about the end goal, the business goal, then they may have ended up in a very different situation because you wouldn't have necessarily arrived at some of that flexibility that we were able to work on them with. So in hindsight, you know, it's easy to discount the decisions that we make on autopilot sometimes, but I think a lot of the decisions that we made were critically important to making that suite of content still very valuable to them years on.
That's right. And that flexibility, which it wasn't easy at times because it wasn't like we have this plan that we're building out. We want you to know that this is not going to be concrete as we go along. It was kind of understood and figured out by both sides in real time moving forward through the engagement. And then once everybody kind of understood this is how it was going to flow, it was like, oh, now we can provide some value. And maybe we don't say this way in this video because we want it to be as evergreen as possible, because it looks like this thing might change as you continue to go down the line, evolving the idea of this product. So that flexibility is extremely important if a business is going to market, launching a product, launching a new campaign, even keep it as evergreen as possible, create a suite of digital assets, video and photo. That way they could be used in sales, marketing, training, put them on the website, put them in pitch decks, whatever, and build that credibility up front, and keeping the asset as long as you possibly can, knowing that they're temporary. These video assets and photos, some of them may not be, but most of them are going to be just really focusing on story and authenticity and vision and what you're out there, what you're setting out there in the marketplace to be a solution to your targets' pain points or needs. If you see a gap in the marketplace and you're creating a thing, use video to help you on that mission to change the world, you know, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're constantly saying, that not being perfect doesn't mean it doesn't need to be professional. It just means
that's a great point.
It can be a little fluid, but if it looks professional, then it's going to help you. I mean, if you're not using video now, you're losing out instantly, the facade of credibility at the bare minimum. It's like when companies didn't have a good website 20 years ago. It was like, you don't have a website. The website was, I got this new website, and everybody's paying, and they're still paying loads of money for good websites, but it should be a given now. If you land on a company's page and the website's a little janky, you're like, I don't know. If they don't have a good social presence now, it's like, what's the deal? What's the deal here? It's like, you might have the best thing in the world, but you're not following the rules of today's digital marketplace and using these assets in a physical sense. So anyway, long story short, don't wait until you're finished. Use video, use photos, use these assets to accelerate trust and momentum. And it's okay if you have to throw them away in time. Like
or even better if you're getting started before you feel like you're ready, just make sure that you or who you're working with, make sure they understand the evolving nature of the thing and engineer some pivot points along the way. You can do that. You can engineer ambiguity where it makes sense. You can engineer, from a nerdy technical side, the way that the videos are actually put together for you so that they can be revisited. And if you're working with someone who isn't willing to do that or isn't capable of doing that, then maybe look somewhere else. But it should be, you should be in a partnership mindset when you're working with anyone. And as long as you're forward to go, hey, this isn't quite done, I know we're going to have to circle back around here, then, maybe that'll help to quell at least a little bit of the concern that you're not quite ready.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the Workshop Media YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you never miss new content.
We're consistently sharing practical insights to help you grow and scale your business with strategic video marketing.
The Video Mavericks podcast is presented by Workshop Media. And now you can take the insights Brett and Jeff share even further with the free Small Business Video Marketing Playbook. This exclusive guide walks you through the 5 must-have videos every small business needs to connect with customers, build loyalty, and drive real results. You'll discover the strategy behind each video and how emotional intelligence and storytelling can transform the way your audience sees your brand. Download your free copy today at workshopmedia.co/playbook.